Elizabeth!
No, Elizabeth!
No! Elizabeth, don't!
This is Left Unsupervised with Elizabeth Morales, your comedic host that's done it all. Actress, writer, director, producer, hairdresser, bartender, beauty pageant organizer, rock and roll PR expert, talent coordinator, bookkeeper, hostess, makeup artist, wife, mother, and general badass. Now listen as she interviews all of her favorite celebrities, doctors, and entrepreneurs that she's met along the way. This week, Elizabeth is left unsupervised with her guest,
Kincaid Walker. Dana, you know this town is full of acting coaches, life coaches, therapists, all self-help guru kind of thing, right? I think LA is like big time. In New York too, I think, but mainly metropolitan cities.
Yeah, I think anywhere where people are moving here to like entertain, there's a lot of people trying to like better themselves all the time. And it's like kind of like the mecca for like self-improvement.
A lot of woo is what they call.
There's a lot of woo energy.
Yeah. Yeah, which could be good, like really good. Because
Totally.
I got some really special connections with some girls that have that spiritual vibe about them. And then it can go a little bit south sometimes, depending.
Yeah, it can go like bananas crazy so fast.
Oh, yeah. Because I want to ask you, like, you've done therapy, right? Me too. And I've done the group settings and I've done all of that. But today's guest, Kincaid Walker, you know her.
I know her. I love her.
Isn't she hilarious?
She's so funny.
She's so funny. I love her. I can't wait to talk to her. But she did this, was it a series?
Yeah. So she produced and created and starred in such a cool series called Hug It Out, which is the premise is this very real thing where there are professional cuddlers and people that spoon people or cuddle with people professionally. And it's like, for if it works for you, it's a very therapeutic way to connect without, I guess, like breaking like intimacy that you would have to in real life. It's like intimacy in a professional setting.
Right. Ooh, I don't know if there's something wrong with me, but I'm sweating just thinking about somebody spooning me right now. I'm like, get off of me.
I know. Why take the worst part of dating someone and pay for it? Like, if you want to, give me like 5 minutes and then get away from me.
And get me a drink while you're at it.
Get me a drink while you're at it.
Oh, my God. Well, you know, Kincaid series is about that, right? It's about hug therapy or what they call cuddle therapy, which I think is great if it can really. A lot of people that have intimacy issues, if it really works. You know?
Have you ever tried anything like weird therapy?
I have. I've done some weird shit. This town is kind of conducive to that. So I've had weird acting coaches that a couple of times I just, I went in and I left and was like, okay, well, that was fun. I'll never do that again. Or I did this one kind of group thing that was almost like borderline cultish,
Yeah. And there's too much of that out here. It's this weird hybrid monster of like acting coach, life coach that like came together to like make a cult demon.
And the stuff I did a couple of times, be like, what the hell? I've talked to empty chairs and I've been really pissed off at them. No, just kidding. I get some of the therapy that you do unconventional sometimes is really cool. I kind of like unconventional therapy.
For sure. It's like, I think it's like the same as like, it's like you have to like find like your tribe with it, like what your thing is that like works for you. All I found is stuff that doesn't work for me. I find one-on-one therapy to be
quite a delight.
Quite a delight. Like call me old-fashioned, but I just.
Whoa, what's the weirdest thing you've had to do?
I've definitely had to yell at empty chairs. I've had to cry in the fetal position in front of like a group of like semi-strangers, and they've had to do like the same for me. I had to like write on mugs, like mantras onto like mugs, and then drink out of that mug every day. I had to grow a plant once. My God, I could go on for days.
What did you plant?
I planted. This is why I think like I just like traditional therapy, because I planted I believe, dill.
What was your intention?
I know. My intention with the dill was to not kill the dill. And then I ended up auditioning a bunch, so the dill died. And when the dill died,
the audition died too?
Well, no, that's the thing is like my life got so busy and like so great and I was like doing well. And then all this cult leader said to me was, oh, this is a metaphor for your life. You let things die. And I was like, I just booked my first. Okay. So Guess I'll never be a great actress if I can't grow dill.
The dill died.
The dill died.
That's your new project. Oh, my God. Anyway. Well, you haven't lived in this town long enough unless you've been part of a weird group, weird culty group, or you've had a weird manager or a weird, agent or acting coach.
Yeah, it's a rite of passage here.
Yeah, it is.
For sure.
What is wrong with you if you haven't found these people? Oh, my God. But let's go get Kincaid because I'm dying to hear how she researched this, too.
Oh, I can't wait.
Our guest today is the wildly talented creator, writer, and star of the digital series Hug It Out, for which she was named Best Emerging Female Creator, You Go Girl, by Bustle Digital Group, and winner of the Best Digital Series at Series Fest. Yes, she is a badass. She's been on Gilmore Girls, My Name is Earl, and Parks and Rec, to name just a few of her very long list of credits. You can catch her now reoccurring as Hillary on the hit ABC show Speechless, alongside Minnie Driver. I am super stoked to have this girl. She is so talented, and not just talented, but beautiful, and my friend, Kincaid Walker. Thanks, Kincaid.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Oh, my God. I've been so excited to get you into the studio.
Oh.
I mean, we've been friends for, 5 years.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right? And I have always been obsessed with your comedy and your writing. You are so funny, girl.
Oh, that's awesome.
Your delivery is just, there's so many things that I want to talk about. Things that, you have created. And your career has just, you're on fire.
Oh,
I'm so excited.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I love your podcast so much. And so it's really fun to get to now be on this side of it. So,
I'm so glad.
Thanks for having me.
So just tell our listeners a little bit about you, like where you're from, where did you go to school?
Sure. Yeah. I'm from Des Moines, Iowa.
Okay.
My parents still live there. I was just home for a very cold winter over the holidays. And I went to Northwestern University. I was a theater major there.
Okay.
And graduated and moved out to LA to act and write. As I said, my parents are still in Iowa. My brother is a lawyer in Brooklyn. And so we both, fled for the coast, I guess.
Oh, my gosh. So you got an East Coaster and a West Coaster.
Yes, with Iowa always in our hearts.
So you have one sibling. You have a brother.
One sibling, yeah, little brother.
So this is what brought you to LA then, pursuing like you knew from the get-go. Did you always know you wanted to be in entertainment? Did you always know you wanted to write?
I always wanted to do both. I think for a long time I thought I needed to choose one. And so I was always kind of like a closet writer. Yeah, I think especially with Hug It Out, it kind of was like, oh, maybe I can marry these two things together. And now I'm doing both of them equally. So, but I was that kid who, was like lip syncing to Mariah Carey and like
always
obsessed
entertaining.
with, yes, Julianne Moore. And yeah, just, the whole shebang. Yeah.
Is comedy something that you knew that you wanted to do because you're so damn good at it? Or is that just something, did you know that you were that good at comedy? Is that what you came out here to do?
Not specifically. I mean, in theater school, you do everything from like Greek tragedy to Ibsen to comedy as well. And I will say that whenever I would do comedy in school or even as a kid, like it seemed like people would kind of they liked me doing that best, and I really do enjoy it the most too. So I enjoy drama; it's okay, but yeah, I kind of just like being able to to play around and kind of tickle people. And when I made people laugh, even as a kid, I was always pretty delighted by it. So I didn't come out here specifically for comedy, but I found it pretty quickly,
Well, you're an incredible dramatic actress also. So, I mean, I think that it speaks volumes that you can do both and write both.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I feel like they're probably closer than we sometimes realize. But yeah, comedy has been obviously most of my writing is in the comedy realm too. So,
what are some of the challenges, let's say, that you've had to overcome? One, being a woman in this industry, or maybe you haven't. Maybe you haven't had to overcome just being a woman. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but what are some of the challenges that you've had to overcome in order to continue to keep moving forward and not letting certain things stop you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think when I first moved out here, when I was sort of very idealistic and young, and then at least for myself, you found that there's just always somebody has an opinion and input about like you should do this or this is the way you do it, this is the track. And I think for one of the challenges I've had to surmount, and I feel like I have come out the other end of it, is just to find my own voice and to be able to just say, you know what, this is what I want to do, and whatever other people think about the odds of that happening, to be able to kind of just embrace my own sense of what is right for me. And I think that I was always like a good kid who got, like A's. And so I was like very much like, just tell me what to do. That's good. That's a good thing.
I was the black sheep.
I love it.
I think I still am.
I love that. I'm like, now I'm like, I hope I'm the black sheep now. That's good, Just like, because otherwise I think you just get inundated with everybody telling you this is who you are. And ultimately, especially success in our industry comes when you go, you know what, no, I'm going to say who I am and define it, move down that path without being afraid of what they think of that.
Right, or their opinions. So would you say trust? Because that's interesting that you say that, because I had a girlfriend who texted me and she was like, okay, I don't really do New Year's resolutions because, I never follow through with them. So I kind of try to start before New Year's, whatever I'm going to try to practice for 2019. But she wrote me this email, text, and she's like, what's your word for 2019? Just give me a word. And I said, trust. Trust is the word. So trusting yourself is a big deal sometimes that you have to overcome, because you're right. Everybody has an opinion and everybody thinks that there's a certain way of doing everything. Would you say you're an out-of-the-box thinker?
I think so.
Me too.
I think I am at heart, and now I definitely am in practice in terms of my own, just not even just career, my life. And I think, to go back to what you mentioned, being a woman in this industry, it's like it's such an interesting time because there's it's such an evolution going on with some of that.
Right.
But yeah, I think the writing has really helped me to kind of not be boxed into some of the stereotypes maybe I felt as an actress, that to go, I don't know, just the constantly sort of being the objectified objectified may be true as well, but it sounds a little strong for what I'm trying to say. Just the being seen and watched and analyzed for your sort of exterior and put in those kind of boxes. Labeled. Yes.
Which I don't want to do anything the way you're supposed to. But I've always been like that. I like to almost kind of challenge the rules, the set of rules. You got to trust your gut, because, you can't get to the same goal the same way. Sometimes you got to go around it, above it, through it, under it. So I think that's great. How do you feel about the industry changing with women? And do you feel that there's really going to be a change in the industry?
I do. I mean, I think hopefully the more obviously female executives and female directors and people in those kind of power positions, I think it'll change. I had a wonderful conversation with a friend who's an executive recently where she was asking me if I had any material that featured older female protagonists, as in late 50s all the way to 70s and up, and that this is this demographic that her company had been looking at as their algorithms and these ways they analyze audiences now, and it was this incredibly underserved demographic. And I'm like,
baby boomers.
Yeah, I was like, that's the most hopeful thing. I love that, because there's just always this, I don't know,
That question in itself is kind of crazy to me that they're looking for content for baby boomers,
Yes,
for women.
For women. And it's true. I mean, my mom, she doesn't want, she may watch something with a 35-year-old protagonist, but she wants to watch something with a 70-year-old protagonist because she's,
Right.
So it's like those kind of things. I feel like as there's the idealism of it. And then I think as the marketplace goes oh, wow, there's a real audience there for that. And we can, not to be cynical, but we can profit off these things.
Right.
More voices and obviously diversity in general, I think.
Well, and
I think
also,
it is changing.
Yeah, and let's be real, the consumers, because millennials really don't consume much of I just read this article, and I'm not saying anything bad about millennials. It's just they don't even have cars. They rather just Uber. So the car industry, there's just a lot of things changing. So I think that's great. It is kind of cool that the industry, I feel like it's also changing and that we are recognizing women so much, and not just age-wise or youth.
Right. Yeah.
It's more of an empowering thing than beauty.
Absolutely. And just the different voices and different life experiences and that I think are going to be increasingly recognized, and those stories are going to be told. And it just, so I do think it's changing. I think there's that, as I said, there's the ideal change that people talk about. And then I think there's the fact that this is a business, and the more they see that Crazy Rich Asians is a huge hit, they go, oh, well, let's do more of that then, well, I guess if it's a business, and that's great, because then there's just more opportunity across the board.
Well, and let's be real. Women are the ones that spend the money.
We do.
So we want to see ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Represented the right way.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
For you, because you wear so many hats, Kincaid, you write, you act, starred in your own things that you've written. Mm-hmm. What would you say is the most challenging when you're doing all these different things, when you have all these different hats on? How do you keep it together?
I have a person who I work with, co-produce with, which is great to have a teammate in it,
right.
Jason Exuzian. But in general, I guess I just try to always come back to the fact that I'm passionate about the story and the project. And I feel like things, because I've thought about that when people say, oh, with Hug It Out, what were the things that surprised you that were harder than you thought? And it was such a overwhelmingly positive experience. And I think just because I wanted it so much and was so passionate about it. So even if the little you produce a location falls through or an actor's schedule, or I had an editor that we parted ways from him quickly, but he chopped it all up and was oh, this is no good. And it was just, I was oh my God, first of all, that's horrible. Yeah. And so just those kind of things of just keeping moving forward and no, I'm going to see this realized. And I know, I believe in this. And I, found a lot of strength in myself of being able to, excite other people to come on board with my work, which, and to say this I think can be a great thing for all of us to make together.
So what keeps you grounded when somebody an editor who, says, oh, this is not good? Because that kind of happened to me with something I produced, and it really wasn't the show. It was the hashtag show. It was some of the editors were chopping it up. Of course, then it, we got rid of that editor and we got another editor.
Right.
But how do you stay grounded when you get the negative? Because as actors or producers or writers or just as creators, right, we are challenged every day because we're in a business of no. It takes work to keep yourself grounded. What do you do to keep yourself grounded? What are your things that you need to do so that you can keep things focused and not letting the noise get in the way?
I'm a proud introvert. So I have my time there. I'm just with my dog, or I'm meditating, or I kind of just go into my own little world and align in that space of and really thinking about it. When I got in the car, for example, after that editor said that and I left the office and was in my car, it was feeling not great about that experience.
Right.
But I tried to just go okay, is there value? Is there anything to learn from what he's saying, and also trusting that what I had created was really good, and everything. There's value to those opinions sometimes, but kind of going back to trusting in my own voice. And so I try to get quiet and just say, I really love this, and this is something that I believe in and I want to do. And you're right, there's so much rejection in our business, but I sort of try more and more to just kind of see like, well, it might look like rejection to someone on the outside, but here's the great things that happen. Here's the relationship I created, or here's the thing I learned from this experience that I can take with me forward. And then the rest of it just kind of like let it go.
Well, yeah, and that's good. That's something that I'm trying to do myself lately because I'm a big talker and I'm trying to bring it inward and stop a lot of the white noise, because there's a lot of white noise that I think everybody has the struggles with. So I'm an extrovert, and now I'm trying to learn how to be. I'll never be an introvert, but at least bring it in sometimes, and it's really kind of helped me. And the meditation helps me too. I do. If I don't do that, like Mike knows, he'll come home and he's like, "You didn't meditate today, did you?" And I'm like,
"You're like, whatever do you mean, dear?
What gave it away? I'm not stressed." Right? So my eyes are bugging out of my head.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Well, listen, I want to talk about Hug It Out because you're killing it at every festival that you have entered. You have been winning awards. So I love the concept. I saw the series and oh my God, Kincaid, it's so funny. And I think it's so fitting to LA, all the different types of therapy that there is in this very culture of California,
right, yes.
Me included. I'm in that
me
woo.
too. Yeah,
I'm in that woo. But tell us a little bit how you came up with the concept, and what's been happening with it. Because oh my God, I love it. You're killing it with it.
Oh, thank you. That's so nice of you to say. And you were, the little screening we had just for friends and family, you were there right at the beginning of it, and it meant so much to me. And so thank you so much.
Always, girl. I'm your number one fan.
You're awesome. You're amazing. Yeah, it's the story of Gwen, and she's recently divorced. She's broke as fuck, and she's got a lot of longstanding intimacy issues she's definitely never dealt with.
I know a few people like that.
Yeah, exactly. There may have been some, autobiography and elements to this. And she becomes a professional cuddler in Los Angeles. She moves across the country, starts a new life, and says, you know what, I'm just going to do exactly the thing that the old me would never have done. And for her, that is definitely being a cuddler for hire and going to people's places and getting into some really, intense platonic intimacy.
And it leads to a hysterical plot line with all the different clients.
Yes.
Right?
Thank you.
And so I didn't even know that cuddle therapy or hug therapy was a real thing until I saw Hug It Out.
Oh,
and I
are you
was
serious?
I was like, is that a real thing? And then I
awesome.
saw a thing on 2020 about it. It was one of those, it was either 2020 or 60 Minutes or on hug therapy. And I was like, oh, it's a real thing.
Yeah.
When I was watching it, I think one of the funniest things too is even if you don't have intimacy issues, but just having somebody, I think it's so funny. I don't consider myself to have intimacy issues, right? Mm-hmm. But then if I had somebody come in to do hug therapy, I would like, nah.
Right.
So you were so funny. How did this concept come up for you?
I had written a pilot that I was taking out, a half-hour pilot I was taking out, and I decided that I wanted to do something that I could produce myself and make and be just a really kind of a high-concept thing I could do a season of digitally, and that would be really funny as well. And I randomly read this article in The Atlantic about a cuddler, a woman who does this for real, and I just became obsessed with the idea of it. And
it's so funny.
Talked to cuddlers, I cuddled, I just was like,
you did?
I did.
You did the research.
I did the research.
What was it like?
It was incredibly awkward. It was.
Did you have a cuddler come to your house?
I didn't. I cuddled. I have a friend.
You did? Oh my God. Okay.
I have a friend, like in one of these LA things, basically, where I was like, oh well, Could it be that one of my friends has a mutual friend who's a cuddler? Probably not. But we live in LA, so I definitely,
Maybe, yeah.
just kidding, my friend. Yes, she definitely did. So I talked with her, and there was like a woman that was comfortable with me just coming in and just trying it. So I showed up at her house. We spooned. I mean, it was very, very
What was it like,
awkward. I was probably because she had been a client of this woman for so long. I feel like she kind of took care of me, which is a little.
It's gonna be okay.
Yeah, which is where
We're
like
just gonna cuddle.
Yeah, exactly. Where I just sort of stood there and I was like, I have a pillow and I have a sleeping bag and like I'm not sure what we should do right now, but like I'm gonna spoon you, and she wanted to spoon me for a while.
You're giving the poor client anxiety.
Yeah, I know. She's like, oh God, like she was this lovely woman,
The opposite of hugging.
she's a professor, very, mid-50s, very lovely, beautiful home. And anyways, yeah, and so that was kind of the first episode of Hug It Out, where my character Gwen is kind of taken care of by this character Seamus, who recurs over the series, becomes a bit of her sort of cuddling guide because she finds herself like being taken care of him more than, and so that was definitely my experience too.
Oh my God. And it's so funny too, because you see this character is very uncomfortable in the beginning, and then you see her actually go through a process and actually start to really dig it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
Thank you. Yeah, I like about the midpoint of the series, I think, Gwen gets this sense of like, wait, like
I think I like it.
I like it. And I'm helping, I really wanted to, because people were like, oh, you gotta, like basically everyone was like, yeah, but it's really sexual, right? I mean, and I was like, that's not the series I'm doing. And I think for the most part, these are very genuine exchanges with people. Yeah.
That it's not sexual, because that's not funny.
That's like
that's
easy. I was like, that was
easy
easy. Of
joke.
like, he gets a boner in an episode. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's like, a lot of people were like, you should have done that episode. But I was like, no, I wanted to like, so the characters are, like, as you know, there's a
male and female.
There's a young vet who has PTSD. There's this religious wife who has postpartum depression and is looking for a way to kind of connect again. And so it was just, had a lot of fun thinking of all the people who could really come to it organically, that Gwen would then in turn be like, oh, fuck, this means something. Like, I'm so
and you're
inside
getting
my
something
own
from
head.
them too, right?
Yeah.
So that was the cool thing too. I thought like they're getting something from you, but in return you're getting something from them, and sometimes you don't even know what that is until.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Also, Miss Kincaid.
Yes.
Because you, like I said, are on fire.
Aww.
So I hear that you're doing a book series.
Yes,
So tell me a little bit about that.
Yes. It came about in a really fun way. I've been working on a novel myself, and my mom, this is so random, my mom in Iowa lives across the street from my 8th grade math teacher, and they take walks all the time. And anyway, somehow this came up. My mom was like, oh, Kincaid's been writing this novel, and a suspense novel, and my Mrs. McGill was like, oh, my niece is a mystery novelist in St. Louis. And so she connected us, and so it was originally to kind of mentor me in my writing. But her name is Susan McBride. She's extraordinary. She's written over 25 novels and different book series and an incredible memoir. She has fabulous female protagonists. And so I said to her, have you ever ever thought of making a TV series or movie of any of your work? And she hadn't pursued that, but was very excited about it. And so I optioned her. It's an award-winning mystery series. There's 6 books in it. It's the Debutante Dropout mystery series.
Ooh.
And yeah, it's funny and sexy, and they're great mysteries. And I think they're just like perfect for just the kind of thing that like I myself would love to watch on Netflix or on any number of outlets. So yeah, I've been taking them out there about Andy Kendricks. It takes place in Dallas, kind of junior league society, but she, like yourself, she's a wonderful black sheep who marches to her own drummer, of course.
That's right.
And so there's 6 books in the series. So I'm adapting the first one right now and putting together, what I think would be great IP for anyone to take on as a project. So I would produce it and play some part in it. If not Andy, then something in it.
I wanted to ask you, you have been so successful auditioning and getting work all the time. What was the reason you started to create your own things?
One, I wanted to write. I really wanted to write, and I wanted to write for myself. I felt like I could create for myself the character that I had been waiting for someone else to give you.
Yes.
Yeah. So I've loved the work I've done and the roles I've played, but there was this kind of comedy and sort of view of the world that I wanted to play as an actress. And I thought, well, I'll just write it for myself. And I think, as you know, as an actress, you come into someone else's project and you're there for a little while and you go on to someone else's project. And so I wanted to have something that, that was mine. Obviously, I had a lot of wonderful collaborators on it. But in that sort of sense of I wanted to create a world. I wanted to write great roles for actors I admired, scenes and work for us to do together. And so it's the best thing that I've done. I really feel like it's the best thing I did for myself as a person and for my career, just to have this series that I feel is a real true reflection of what I do best.
Well, and I think it's the right time right now, too, because I feel like now with social media and streaming, there's just so many more opportunities to not sit around and wait for that right role or wait for the perfect whatever it is.
Yes.
It's actually a great time to create whatever it is for yourself and not wait around and kind of have a little more control. I think we have more control on our careers as creators than we ever did before.
I totally agree.
There's so many outlets right now, and anybody who's sitting around waiting for stuff to happen for them is just not going to, because I don't think that that's the way things are done anymore.
I completely agree, and I want to create a series for a network or streaming like Netflix and I want to be a showrunner. And so people, as much as they might have said like, oh, she's had this acting career, that's not the way they saw me. So this was a way to say like, I can do this too. And I want that for myself, and like you're saying, you can't wait, especially in those kind of to be a creator, and you can't wait for people to give that to you. That's going to be something that you're going to have to harness on your own one way or another,
Well, and I think not that there's anything wrong with just being an actor, but for me, I like the process of creating, producing, seeing beginning to end, being in it. Also, when you go in to see somebody, a network or pitch your show, it's not conceptualized anymore. You're actually doing it. You're actually doing it. You're not waiting. You're in there doing it. They see you doing it, and they see you differently too. Not just you do one thing. It's almost like a triple threat. So you're super well-rounded and doing it all. And I think that's going to open a tremendous amount of doors for you.
I think we're both the same. Like some people have said to me like, oh, but was the producing kind of just by default, like because you wanted to make the series and you had to co-produce it yourself, or I was able to co-produce it, but produce it myself. I'm like, no, I really liked producing it. I liked having that kind of input into the whole process of it. And I think you're right that there's a lot of ways to get your work out there nowadays on social media, and you can harness that in ways we never could have even 10 years ago. And I think you're right that this is always a town where, I think people are constantly going like, I do this, I do that. And whether it's right or not, there's a cynicism about whether that's true about that person until someone can go, oh, she said she can dance and I can see her on this stage tonight dancing. And so now I know that that's true. And so I think when it's a theoretical about what you can do, it's just great, like, to be able to say like, I want to create a series, and I did create a series, and here it is, and you can watch it and you can see what it is that I am telling you I do well.
And have control, because in this business you have zero control as an actor when you're on somebody else's set, somebody else's creation. your job is to create that character, but everything else is out of your control. I don't know if it's me. I'm a little bit of a control freak, but I like to have my hands if I can, and I have a message to get across. I want to be all in it.
Yes.
Getting it done. Make sure that the voice is being heard. Wait, I want to talk to you about Dinks.
Oh, yeah.
That's another thing I loved. Tell me a little bit about Dinks, because that was such a funny concept. And it went viral, right?
It did. It was it was this great series that I starred in with this fabulous comedian named Matt Stodder. It was created by Jason Exusian, who actually, and written by him and directed. And he actually is the director of Hug It Out and co-produced that.
Oh,
so
wow.
that was our first project we worked on together. But yes, it's dual income, no kids.
That's what Dinks means.
Dinks.
Dual income, no kids.
Yes.
Oh, so
and
funny.
so it's just this kind of irreverent, some might say obnoxious couple that kind of just, used their dual incomes to just go create mischief in the world, often for those with children and, living lives that they thought
At
were
the carpool lane, living lives in the carpool lane.
Exactly. So, but I love that series, and we did a pilot presentation of it, and it's still kind of out and about in the world. So with these producers, so we'll see. But it's one of those, it's like we all have those where we're like, I'm still rooting for it. It was such a pleasure to be a part of.
Oh my God, and you're so funny in it. So Kincaid, if we were to sit here 3 years from now, where do you see yourself? Where would be the ideal?
The ideal is I have, whether it's Hug It Out or another series I've created, that it's on, a network, whether that be or Netflix or HBO, but that it's my show that I'm not paying for, that has a built-in huge audience. So basically, Hug It Out on crack. That's what I'm looking for.
Well, I'm going to try and that Hug It Out's going to do really, really great. I can't wait to see it. See it again on TV.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, Kincaid, you worked with the same director in Dinks and Hug It Out.
Yes.
So, obviously, you guys have amazing chemistry because both have been a tremendous success. How important do you think it is to be surrounded with people that you can really click with, your tribe?
I think it's insanely important. And I know, Jason and I have other projects now that we're working on together. And I think just finding your teammates in this industry, because we all feel, I think, kind of adrift and alone to some extent.
Right.
And knowing this is somebody that, I can take writing notes from. I trust him to direct me as an actress.
There's that word.
Yeah, it really is we really immediately bonded, and the value of it, I feel like the work is so much better because of how well we know each other and the trust that we have. So I think that's of utmost importance. Honestly, the longer I'm in this industry, it's like an obvious thing, I guess, but it's absorbed into me now. But your relationships and the people you trust and with whom you love collaborating, that is what we should all be really looking for, and
that chemistry, that thing that's easy flow. You're always this industry has enough issues that happen. It's kind of nice to have that easy flow where you can trust somebody.
Yeah.
And, that's incredible because let me tell you guys have insane chemistry.
Oh, thanks.
Can you please plug your social media? Where can people find you?
Absolutely. People can watch the first season of Hug It Out at hugitouttheseries.com.
Okay.
We have a bunch of amazing bonus content up there.
You have to watch it, guys.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
So thank you, Elizabeth. Yes, you can find it there. And at Hug It Out Series on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook.
Okay.
And then for me personally, at Kincaid Walker. It's really easy across all social media. You can find me there.
That's KINCAIDWALKER.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Perfect. Well, we're going to play a little game with you called Two Tweets and a Lie.
Okay.
And my friend Dana's going to come in here and she's going to explain the game to you.
Awesome.
Okay, so this is the way that this game is going to work. I'm calling it Two Tweets and a Lie. I'm going to read you 3 tweets. 2 will be things that you have really tweeted, and 1 is a lie.
Oh my God.
This sounds juicy.
Oh, wait, me?
Yes.
These are your tweets. And like, girl, I had to dig deep because you are not a big tweeter.
I am not.
So
We're tweet shaming you right now.
I know. Not great at the old Twitter.
So the way I did it was I've either changed a detail or I've completely written a tweet from scratch. So some will maybe feel a little bit more familiar, but some details will be different. Either way, you've got to figure out which tweet is a lie. Are you ready?
Okay,
Ooh,
I'm
this
ready.
is good. Okay.
Okay, round 1. So the tweet is, in other news, I'm going to rewatch last night's episode of #The Leftovers as I cry on a trampoline. The second tweet in this round is, I'm at Bar La Biche.
Oh, wow.
And then the third tweet in this round is, here's to the hummingbirds, Parker and Olive, who visit my porch every day. #It's the little things. #yes, I named them. I will happily repeat any of them if you would like, but which one is the fake tweet?
Oh my God. I remember those hummingbirds. I did definitely name them, and I did weep incessantly to the Leftovers when it was on, and I do trampoline. That's my favorite thing in the world. Don't even get me started on extolling the benefits of
We
trampolining.
need more time.
I mean, I'll definitely send you an article on this later, whether you want it or not.
Oh, bring it on. It sounds dirty. I kind of liking
Exactly. Let's see. I mean, I feel like that second one isn't. I feel like that's the one. That Bar La Biche. Have I been there?
Okay.
Oh wait,
so
yeah. Okay, that's oh fuck. I've only tweeted like 9 times in my life, and I can't remember them.
Answer, please.
Number 2.
Number 2, final answer? All right. Well, I'm at Bar La Biche is a real tweet that you tweeted.
Oh, that's scintillating, clever tweet.
However, it was only one detail of the hummingbird tweet that was altered. So it is something that you did tweet.
Oh.
Their names were Pete and Olive, not Parker and Olive.
You didn't even remember their names,
Parker,
Kincaid.
I would.
But you did
Damn
great.
it. Thank you.
Oh, my
man.
God. That's so funny.
I should have listened because Parker, I would have known. I would never name a hummingbird Parker. How could I have stumbled over that one?
I know. I tried to make the first one so easy.
Oh, man. Oh no, there's more? Oh, no.
That's round 1. Girl.
That's round 1.
Okay. I lost that round. Okay, perfect.
There are no. I think you won. If anything.
Oh, you did. You guessed.
Okay, so round 2. The first tweet in round 2 is, wine by the ocean. I'm at Casa Del Mar Hotel.
Name dropping.
Oh God.
Ate my 5-star suite.
I will also this tweet says 1910 Ocean Way at Pico Boulevard after. And the second tweet in round 2 is shooting at the Cowboy Palace in Chatsworth today. Claims to be, quote, last real honky-tonk saloon, unquote, in LA at least.
Boy, so this is like Twitter just deleted my account. They're like, these are the saddest tweets
You're like,
we've
no
ever
wonder I
heard.
don't tweet.
Yeah, exactly. Oh God.
And then the last one in this round is, can't believe this is where I get to film today. # look at this view.
Oh God, these
are great.
I just want to I want to slap myself in the face right now. I'm going to say that last one I didn't do. I think I did go to a birthday party at Casa Del Mar, and I think I was cheesy enough to tweet that.
I would have tweeted it too. With the picture of the champagne.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like,
Ocean view. Bitches.
Yeah. I was like, I do think that might have really happened.
Well, you're right. That did really happen. That was a real tweet. And then the last one was not a real tweet. That one I made up
girl,
completely.
you're on fire.
Oh my God.
You're on fire.
You're like 1 out of 2.
Oh
You're
my
on
God.
fire.
Okay, final round, girl. Final round.
Okay.
So, round 3. This is the last one.
Boy.
Okay.
Okay, so the first tweet is, oh, peacocks of Arcadia, I'm in love with you.
Damn, these are I'm going to go home and cry on my trampoline after this.
No. Tweet about it, please. Season 3's coming.
Exactly.
The second tweet is Election Day. Hashtag midterms are important. Hashtag voting feels good.
Oh, yeah. That sounds like me.
Yeah, that sounds
good. little righteous tweet there. Perfect.
Little rage came through to go out there and vote people.
And then the last one of the last round is loved performing at Second City with these glorious people last night. Hashtag live comedy. Hashtag so much fun.
Oh, man. Wait, what was the first? The first one was the the fucking peacocks with Arcadia. I think I did tweet that because I was so upset. I was like, "What do you mean peacocks wander around people's yard in this amazing place?" And I chased a few around. It was a special day. Okay, I'm going to say there was this is a hard game because I'm like, I think I tweeted all of these things, but there's like something that's not right about one of them.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say that
They're all brilliant.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. People are riveted. Just a basic, just like, here I am. Like, now I'm here.
Round 3.
Yeah,
just guess, man.
Exactly. Home with my dog. Follow me on Twitter. Okay, I'm going to say there's something about that third one that's not. Oh, yes.
Yes.
Oh,
my
yes.
God, Kincaid, you got them all.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh.
So there was a point, and I don't have the date. I've got the dates for all of your real tweets except for this one. But there was a point where you literally just tweeted, "I'm at Second City." But this...
The Tourette's kicked in.
They're all in all caps with exclamation points.
Oh,
and
right, 'cause
it's
it was
very
UCB.
endearing. It was at UCB where
gosh.
you was the original tweet. So love performing at
Yes.
UCB with these glorious people last night. Hashtag live comedy. Hashtag UCB. Hashtag so much fun.
Amazing.
God.
Because it was like, I did briefly take classes at Second City. Too,
I
and
did.
some
I made like a
stuff there.
Franken tweet.
I like that. I'm at Second City. And it was like, oh, okay.
Well, you were such a good sport, and this was so much fun. Thank you for playing 2 tweets in a line.
Oh, God, thank you. I'm so sorry you had to read all of them, but there
were only like 300 and something. Like, it really wasn't that many to go
people
through.
have like thousands, right?
They do.
Yeah. I'm like, well.
That was a great game, Dana.
That was an awesome game.
Yeah, that was great.
I'm so glad you guys had
Yay,
fun.
thank you, Dana.
Thank you. Kincaid, thank you so much for coming in, girl. It was such a blast having you.
Aw, this was awesome.
I wish you much success, not just with Hug It Out, but with anything you put your hands on, because you are incredibly talented, funny, and just an amazing artist. So I'm
Thank
really
you so
happy
much.
that you came in. So before you leave, I have one question that I ask all my guests. If you were left unsupervised and nobody could hear or see you, where would you be and what would you do?
Oh my gosh. As a fan of the podcast, I've been thinking of what I would say. And my initial thing was I would play the piano and sing on the stage of Lincoln Center all by myself.
Ooh.
But then I popped in, I'm like, but what would you really want to do? And I think it's a toss-up with being able to wander around Oprah Winfrey's house in Santa Barbara and just go through the drawers in her closets and watch Oprah in her element, just like a weirdo. So like something kind of beautiful and then something kind of creepy, which is maybe just that's
all rolled
Kincaid
up in one.
Kincaid in a nutshell.
I love that answer. Just leave the back door open for me.
That's right. Don't mind me, Oprah. I'm just obsessed.
Well, girl, thank you so much. I love you so much. And
I love you too.
Yes, and much success. You got to keep us informed and let us know what happens.
I will. Thank you so much for having me. This is amazing. So much fun to be a fan of something and then to come and be a part of it. So thank you, Elizabeth.
Oh, I love you. Thanks,
I love you
Kincaid.
too. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Left Unsupervised. Don't forget to stalk us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Left Unsupervised Podcast. We'll catch you guys next week. Thanks for listening.